So thank you again for everybody for joining us today. We have our collaborator, Steve Fredericks at the Growing Stage Theater, as well as several of his members of his team here helping out. And I'm going to now hand over the floor to Steve to tell us all about this awesome project, as well as the newest updates.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Steve Fredericks. I'm the founder and executive director of the Growing Stage, the Children's Theater of New Jersey. We're currently in our 43rd season and getting ready to announce our 44th in just a few weeks. But we're real excited to have this opportunity and the collaboration that it provides working with the New Jersey Highlands Coalition. I think it's quite unique in that we're taking an arts organization specifically dedicated to young people and their families, and adding the sciences in a creative manner so that we can bring to everyone's attention, kids as well as their parents, the need for us to protect our waterways here in New Jersey and throughout the world. Matt, if you go to the next slide. Once upon a time, there was a hum that resonated from the deep woods. It's early spring, and just as winter blanket begins to recede, the thaw of spring allows small pools of water to give life to even the smallest of creatures that inhabit the area known as the Great Swamp. The puppet stage is dark with only a hint of light seen. It's moonlight, and all the audience can see at this point are outlines of tall grass, a large rock that borders the small pool of water. We hear a steady hum and a buzz that slowly builds as the moonlight becomes brighter. Then it abruptly stops, and three pairs of eyes pop out at different levels of the reeds at the differing intervals. Then they all three appear at the same time, but something is wrong. The eyes disappear, and our three main characters slowly reveal themselves. They are Mac, a young spring peeper frog that dreams of coming out from beneath her rock to see the world. Dobbs, a misunderstood eastern Dobson fly, who is generally judged first by his appearance, which makes him a bit defensive and seemingly angry at all times. And finally, there is Blue, a blue-spotted salamander, the rarest of his kind in the Highlands, and by nature the most sensitive to the environment. As such, his self-confidence is lacking. Our three main characters are what are generally considered insignificant, but as often the case, it is those that we pay the least attention to that we soon realize truly matter much more than ever realized. Our heroes take on a very large task. It's the hope that this choice inspires young people to be more aware of their own ability to create change. Together, the three come together to find a solution and to go to seek the advice of the wise, very old turtle known simply as Grandfather. Grandfather lives alone and deep in the swamp, and while his words can be biting at times, especially since he's a snapping turtle, he teaches the three connectivity of all nature and sets them off to find the grandparents of the north, south, east, and west that live within the swamp. The goal of the work, beyond creating something that would resonate with young audiences and their families, is to convey the vital importance for all of us to nurture and protect our environment, and in particular, our water systems. Woven are issues within our issues that impact our vernal ponds, as well as the overall environment, changing hydrology, water chemistry, habitat loss, and the overall impact if we do not protect and respect our environment. I also attempted to weave together within the text to our land's ancestral roots, that of the Lenni Lenapé people. The creatures used in the piece are all native to our great swamp. Within the creation story of the Lenni Lenape is the tale of Taxwax, the turtle, who first carried the new earth to the world. In the Lenape lore, four powerful spirit beings in the form of grandparents help to protect the land. The grandfather in the north controlled the power of the Asinal, the rock giving us the wintertime, the trees, and all that we see around it. He's represented by the red oak, whose roots are firmly embedded in the ground. The grandmother of the East controlled the power of the wind, giving us springtime, the breath of life, new beginnings, music, and song. She is portrayed by the song sparrow. The grandmother of the South controlled the power of fire, giving us summer, warmth, and maturity. Her gift is our inner fire, which is represented by the red fox. And finally, the grandfather of the West, who controls the power of water, healing, and dreams, and who also gives us autumn, death, and readies us for renewal. He is portrayed by the great blue heron. The puppets we will be creating were originally designed by Rob Cutler, a graduate of the University of Connecticut's MFA program in Dramatic Arts Puppetry, inspired and supported by the Henson Foundation. We hope that he'll be overseeing the construction and puppetry workshops with our performers for the productions. Rob was a young person at the growing stage when his mom volunteered as a seamstress, and shared that when we reconnected that he was initially inspired by the puppets we had created for Rip Van Winkle, a production we did in the late 80s. We recently added Atticus Stevenson onto our project to do the puppet construction. A graduate of Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, he has most recently served as the lead builder for Disney's Winnie the Pooh, the designer and fabricator for Disney's Frozen Olaf character that was on Broadway, as well as the lead builder for the Very Hungry Caterpillar that currently has 11 international troops performing worldwide. This is the rendering of our three heroes, Dot Blue, Dobbs, and Mac. Each will first require a clay model that will allow the pattern to be created in order to build the actual puppet. Made from foam and covered with fabric, the seams will be reinforced with corset boning, dowels, and PVC to ensure stability and longevity. The technique will be utilized for most of our puppet characters. These are the clay models. That looks like mugshots, I know, but these are the clay models that are being constructed to scale. Once approved and completed, we'll be selecting fabric swatches to ensure that we have the correct color and texture to bring the characters to life for our audiences. And here are the three heroes together. They're actually looking to see the different shapes and such to be able to see how light impacts their appearance as they're prepared to make their debut. Each of the three puppets will be performed with their own acting artist and will operate very similar to Kermit the Frog, with one hand operating the head and the other the arm. The legs will be set on stage. Dobbs' wings and pinchers will have additional controller for both the wings to be used as needed for dramatic purposes. Taxwax, the turtle, will follow the same construction process and be operated by a single artist. The shell will be stationary and large enough to provide the context for our three smaller characters, though it will not be to scale. We will be taking dramatic license on that. The head will be operated by the hand, with the arm serving as the neck of the creature. The red oak, the grandfather of the North, will be constructed by rigid foam and be held by the artist. It's the trunk of the tree, and the mouth and lower jaw will be moving, as will the eyes, as they're initially revealed. The song sparrow, the grandmother of the East, is a foam construction attached to a pole that will allow the wings to move and the character to go throughout the space. And this will provide both the height of the characters as well as give the performing artist the freedom to move around the stage and through the audience. The red fox, the grandmother of the South, is a large puppet that will be manipulated by three artists. One will operate the body, one the head and the mouth, with the last providing tail movement to help create the illusion of depth. The head will require a clay model as well, that the foam and the fabric will then be applied to in order to create the shape of the creature. And the last of the creatures that our three friends meet is the great blue heron, the grandfather of the West. It's a two-person puppet, and it will have one person artist manipulating the wing, with the other working the head and opposite wing. The wings will be constructed from corset boning, with strips of acrylic attached to then feathers applied. The piece is aimed at young audiences from kindergarten to third grade, though I believe it will also be accessible to older preschool students. It's designed to be performed both as a filmed piece using a myriad of different puppetry styles with 4 actors, puppeteers, and to create a live puppet theater experience as well, simply by adapting the production's design. The original homeland of the Lenni Lenapé encompassed what is now southeastern New York, New York City, and the Hudson River area, and the states of Delaware, New Jersey, and eastern Pennsylvania. There are 3 main divisions of the Lenape people. Our region was inhabited by the Munsee, who were often called the Wolves, or identified with the wolf. They were the northernmost of the 3. The concept of land for the Lenape is that it is not something to be possessed, but rather something sacred and alive. They have a saying, "We do not own the land, we are of the land, we belong to it." It's through the journey of Mac, Dobbs, and Blue that connect them not only to each other, but as they learn through the elders the connection that we all have to our environment and the vital role we all play in protecting the land today and ensuring its future for all. It's our hope that through this piece, we, in some small way, honor and demonstrate respect for the dream of the original Munsee people, while also inspiring that it one day has a happy ending for the benefit of all of us. Thank you.
So what do you think, Jean?
I loved it. I enjoyed it very much. I wish you, I gather it's not finished yet. I wish you the best.
Yes, thank you very much. We're real excited about bringing on Atticus. It adds a whole nother dimension to it, especially with everything that he's learned from Disney. As you can imagine, they're uh, they're taskmasters as far as their product and what they put on the stage, because everything has to, for their own particular brand protection. So he learned an awful lot about details, which sometimes as artists we kind of just let's just try to get it done and try to create on the wing. He's everything's got to be broken down, and it's pretty amazing to experience. But I should have updated sketches as well. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to have them for today. But what we hope to be able to do is debut the piece at the growing stage on November 8th. And so we've really gotten to a point now that Lauren and Julia and I have been, talking about this for almost 3 years and seeing its development. And David, I'm sure that you're familiar that when you've got a project or something in mind, it doesn't happen automatically. You have to talk about it. You refine the idea, the concept, and I think we've just received. Well, we did. We just received $20,000 of support from the FM Kirby Foundation, which is allowing it to get up and off the ground, and to this point with our puppeteers, as well as several other funders that have really stepped up to allow the script to be written, allowed the plans to be developed, and strategies to be able to make it a sustainable program that is not just something that is 1 year, but something that has legs to it and is able to continue on and become a part of the school's curriculums, so that they know every year they bring in this piece because it does resonate with each grade as they move up. We're real excited about the potential of working with Elliot and others within the Highlands Coalition and developing learning packets that the schools will then have prior to our performance, and that will also encourage teachers to understand and see how they can weave in this kind of environmental science into their curriculum. It doesn't have to wait until they're in high school. It's something that they can become aware of as children. And anyone who has a child knows that when they come home from school, especially at that age, they share their knowledge with the parents. So it's a way of kind of reinforcing what we're trying to get as far as our, our older population here in the state to also buy in and support the effort. So, yeah, we're real excited about getting it to this point, and finding the ways and the means to be able to make it sustainable going forward. The other only aspect is not only making it a live performance, but filming it so that those schools that don't have the ability to bring us into their space, it's accessible to community organizations and schools of that nature as well, to be able to take advantage of the piece moving forward.
Elliot, you're being very polite. You got your hand up.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, Steve, thank you for such a nice presentation. I hadn't met the characters in this until now, and heard their story. A question is, did I get this right, that only the red fox and the great blue heron will be puppets large enough that they actually have operators standing behind them?
Well, the red oak will have it as well, and the song sparrow will be on an extended pole, so
Right.
that it's able to elevate and then fly over the audience as well as the characters on the stage to make it as engaging as possible.
I think it's great that you have different types of puppet manipulations going on, depending upon the size and how articulate they need to be. One of the things that has always fascinated me about vernal pools is that some of them, such as the ones in the Great Swamp, were carved out by glacial action 17,000 years ago, and as such have been the same family of amphibians reproducing yearly for that many years.
Yep.
I mean, it brings the depth of their natural heritage to like the Lenape, which I think you handle very appropriately and folds in nicely with any story about
I
these
don't
people.
know, Steve, I don't know if you know that Chief Mann is a trustee of the New
Mhm.
Jersey Highlands Coalition.
Yeah, and I
And
checked with, and I shared the story and the
with
structure
Mikey,
with his wife,
yeah.
and she was on board with everything that we had created at that point in
Excellent.
time. And she actually is the one that directed me towards the relationship of the spirits and the grandparents, which I think is also a benefit to us as well, because it then makes the piece multi-generational.
Yeah.
Grandparent,
I
parent, and
I
the child can all enjoy the show at the same time.
for the recorded version, I don't know, but maybe we can ask the chief if he would provide a blessing so that
That'd be wonderful. Sure.
yeah, so that people can have an appreciation for what a different language it is that they speak.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing too, Elliot, as far as when they first meet the snapping turtle, the old wise turtle there, because all of the characters are native to the Great Swamp that
Mhm.
that we pulled from. We can actually, there's an opportunity there to bring in that the pool being formed by glaciers and the generations of amphibians that have lived in there. So that's like a nugget of knowledge that we can then put into dramatic terms to be
Right.
able to share that knowledge.
So, Steve, I'm going to ask Hazel England if she will prepare the written stuff for the schools for us. She is an environmental professional who works with the Great Swamp Watershed Association, has been there for over 20 years, and does a lot of work with younger children. So I think she'll be very helpful, and she might have a couple of additional ideas to share as well.
That's great. I appreciate that.
So I live in Green Village. The Great Swamp National Wildlife Refuge is my backyard. And that first photograph that you see, for people who don't know, they think, it's just a swamp. But honestly, swamps are the most diverse and productive ecologically places that we have, because creatures can move from wet habitat to dry habitat in a very short space. And it creates such incredible diversity. So you have little creatures like we're talking about, and big creatures. We've got a huge heronry in the Great Swamp National Wildlife Refuge. Actually, I think there are two of them, but they are very productive. And so I don't know if you've ever been to see the heronry in the Great Swamp, Steve, but I'd be delighted to take you so you can get some idea, because it's active now. They start laying in February, and the last of the young are gone by May, which completely matches when vernal pools are active. So most of your viewers won't know what a vernal pool is, and they won't know that because they're not on stream, fish can't get into them, which is the only reason why things like frogs can survive there. Otherwise, they'd just be fish food. So then they dry up. Most of them, they don't all dry up, but most of them dry up by May.
Julia, is a heronry just a heron's nest or something greater than that?
It's a collection of herons' nests in the trees. So, and they build them in the very tops of the trees. And in the refuge, there are all these dead trees. And you can come with your binoculars, but there are a couple of things that right there. There's a special parking lot for looking at the heronries on Pleasantville Road in the refuge. And as I said, now is the time to go see it, because you'll see the young in their nests.
Steve, you said the first showing will be what, November 8th?
That's correct. At the theater, the Growing Stage, the Palace Theater in Netcong.
Right.
David, if you've never been there, it is a very special place.
Yeah, no, I have never been there. How many seats do you have there?
250.
Mhm.
Everything the Growing Stage produces and presents is for young people and their families.
Yep.
And 30 years ago, we purchased the theater the day before it went to sheriff's sale. And it was an old vaudeville theater that at the time we purchased it was a moving and storage company that had gone bankrupt. And we literally did not have a roof above our heads. We had the side walls, but we had open sky above the stage. So for the past 30 years, we've been renovating and repairing the facility, restoring it, and it's now on the county, state, and national registers of historic places. And we raised and invested back into the facility over $3 million over those 30 years.
Wow.
So it's a special jewel box theater, we like to call it, and we keep it intimate because everything we do is for theater for young audiences. So we want to make sure that everyone can relate to what's happening on the stage and feel a part of the show.
It's a seriously cool place, David.
Young audiences, what ages from, what would you
Well,
say?
the young audiences that we serve are preschool through high school, to be perfectly honest, through our main stage program.
Mhm.
But primarily it's for that middle age group, that older elementary students.
Yeah.
But we make sure that all of our shows are on several different levels. So when you're a parent or an older or younger sibling, there's things in there that you can enjoy. And it's all professional adults performing for young people. It's not kids performing for kids. It's a professional theater company.
And they get to see these things through the schools?
Through the schools and then on weekend performances as well. We have a production of The Nuffle Bunny, which is a Mo Williams piece, who is a very popular children's book writer and illustrator. And we're doing a Knuffle Bunny, a cautionary musical, is our last show of the season. But this season this is our last show of this season. We've gone from doing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Catching the Moon, which was about it was a brand new world premiere piece, which is about the first woman to play professional baseball in the major leagues. She played for the Negro Leagues. True story. And so we took that was that piece. We just did Her Beautiful Sound, which was more for high school students, and it was all done in spoken word. And that had a great response to it. And now we're ending the season with Knuffle Bunny. And we serve all of northern New Jersey right now. And with our production that we've got coming up, we have schools coming during the week. We call them main stage matinees. And we have schools coming from Sussex, Hudson, Bergen, Passaic, Somerset, and Morris and Warren counties are all coming to see that show. We have 21 straight performances once it opens on Friday the 3rd.
Wonderful.
Steve, will we?
And if anybody's interested in coming to see the shows, just let us know and we can make tickets available either on the weekend or at a 10 o'clock show filled with young people. Then you really truly get the experience, because there's no more honest audience than one of kids, because they'll tell you when they're bored and when they got to go and how much longer is this going to be. So we don't hear that. We hear laughter and applause, and that's what we shoot for.
Well, you've actually raised a point that goes to one of my questions, which is how long do you anticipate this program will run? Each
I
show.
think, Mark, that it's got the ability to run. We did for example, we did a production called Tales from the Garden, which is about folklore and historical facts and fiction of New Jersey.
Mhm.
And that piece ran for 20 years because it became a standard part of the school's curriculum when they were in 4th and 5th grade. I
Mhm.
think this has the same potential for the younger grades, because it can be tied into the state curriculum on science and environment.
Yes.
But I
Okay.
think, Mark, were you meaning how many
I did
minutes?
actually mean the show length, but that was interesting
Oh,
to
I'm
hear.
sorry. I
That's quite all
apologize.
right. Yeah.
45 minutes to an hour. Because if
Okay.
you do anything beyond that, it also gives us, the show runs 45 minutes to an hour, it gives
Uh-huh.
us 15 minutes of dialogue directly with answering questions with the kids that are seeing the
Oh,
show, doing a
okay.
question and answer afterwards.
Okay, great. And is there any music or songs involved in this?
It's more of a play with music than it is what a musical per se. So there will be music that will be integrated within the piece
Uh-huh.
that
I
will
know
help to create the moods and the ambiance of what we're trying to create with the piece.
Oh, that sounds very good. I know how important that can be to young children and maintain their interest, to have those kind of cues, musical cues.
Sure, sure.
And I just wanted to compliment you on the team that you've assembled for the creation of the puppets. Sounds like you couldn't get a better team.
It's very exciting and rewarding, especially with I call him a young man. He's not really a young man anymore, but I remember him as being the kid that used to run around the theater. Don't touch that. Now I want him to touch everything. So it's it's very rewarding to see that 43 years later.
Well, thank you, Steve.
Of course, thank you.
And Steve, hi, it's Carolina.
Yes.
How long is the play?
I'm sorry?
How long?
Oh, how long is the play? It's
yeah.
about 45 minutes to an hour.
What do you say?
And that way it fits within the school classroom time if it's being viewed on video. And if it's being done live, it allows then for a talk back with the actors and the production team, so that we can expand not only with the environmental information that kind of creates interest for them, or jogs their curiosity, but also the ability to share the creative aspects of it as well, so they can see what they can create on their own to create some of that magic. And we'll do the same thing with the learning packets that Julia is talking about. There'll be a science portion to it, and there'll be an artistic side to it as well, possibly with like how you can make paper bag puppets or things of that nature, so that they can then go home and create their own characters.
That raises a question for me for Julia. Julia, are you anticipating that these teaching materials are or other materials that you'll be working on for this are something that might be used by the coalition as promotional materials for us?
Well, I certainly hope that Steve is using them as promotional materials for the theater, but I certainly see them as a way of
Secondary.
doing that together.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
thank-
and the other thing too, Mark, is that the theater itself has a balcony that we're right now in the process of making. We leveled it off so that it's a gallery space. So we can make a coexisting gallery exhibit there that highlights the work of the New Jersey Highlands Coalition, as well as these characters that kids and families can see and look at and touch.
Great. That sounds wonderful. Thanks.
Sure.
Steve, I imagine the coalition and the growing stage will be working together to promote the premiere and subsequent run of the show.
Yes. Yep.
Great.
Yep. And so we're taking, the relationship that we have with schools throughout northern New Jersey, the relationship we just started with the Highlands Commission, with
The
the marketing
council, it's the
Council.
council. You just
Council,
got
okay.
money from them. You got to give them the
Yeah,
right
you got to
name.
give them the right props.
I'm sorry. Yes, we just received $35,000 for marketing from the New Jersey Highlands Council. And that we'll be able to utilize that as well in getting the word out with regards to this piece.
That's a nice piece of change.
Yeah, we were very pleased and appreciative.
Okay.
Well, looking forward to it.
David, is this something that you think the bank is, I mean, I would hope that this is something that can be evergreen for the bank, because it sounds to me like you could be forever sharing with, since you're expanding all over the place,
Yeah.
with certain, not just in northern New Jersey, certainly the Muncie connection to Manhattan is another connection. So
Yeah,
it
I'd have
seems
to,
like-
I'd have to definitely talk about it to certain people in the bank. I think Carolina does as well, to see what we can do and try to support in some respect. So we'll have to do that. Probably, right, Carolina? Probably like next week.
Yeah, definitely. We'll go back in for Community Reinvestment Act, which is what I'm involved in. Are any of the schools that this is going to be presented to located in a low, moderate income areas in the counties that you mentioned?
Yep. Yeah, we're trying to set our focus and scope so that it does impact the Newark area,
Okay.
especially since they are users of the reservoirs within the state. It would have impact there. So yes, definitely. And any underwriting could be directed to put directly towards that area or those schools that we would receive, and that would help them with the cost of bringing in the show.
So Steve, just so you know, the city of Newark is the largest property owner in the Highlands. They
Right.
own 5 reservoirs and 35,000 acres. Now, the acreage has a conservation easement on it that's held by the state, but they have this big connection, and it is underappreciated, I think, by people who live in the city, because 100% of their water comes from the Highlands.
Yep.
Same thing with Jersey City, and same things with most of the towns around those two communities, because they sell water to them.
So,
Well, David, if there's any, or Carolina, if there's anything that you need from me, like you would like some of those pictures
Yeah.
that we shared or a recording of this that we did today, we can
Would
definitely
you-
provide it for you.
That would be great. Would you also be able to, would you have a list of the schools in Newark? That will help probably to push through the CRA budget, because the CRA budget is very specific to what it needs to go towards, which is low and moderate income communities.
Sure.
The
We
bank
haven't,
does
we haven't established those relationships as of yet,
okay.
as to be perfectly honest, but as
That's
I said earlier, if Peapack was able to help support the project, what we could do is just putting in the wording that it needs to be applied to low income schools within the Newark district, and that's exactly what we would do.
So I
Yeah,
might be able to help because I sit on the board of United Parks as one, which works with 3 parks in Newark
Okay.
and has strong connections to the schools close to those parks. And I can certainly provide a connection to Armstead Johnson, who is the director of UPAO, United Parks is one, who can help make those connections as well, Steve.
Wonderful.
Otherwise, PPAC also has other departments that we could probably, Dave and I talked in our, corporate giving and other departments that we could probably speak to about this project that not necessarily has to come from the CRA budget.
Right.
So Dave and I would have to chat
Correct.
and see who can we talk to at the bank.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we obviously have the environmental committee, so they've been
Oh,
very
there you go. We
supportive.
have the environmental committee. Yes.
Yeah, and they've been very supportive. Right, Brielle? They've been very supportive recently too, this year. So
Aren't they going over the edge, David? Are you going over the edge?
I'm never going over the edge. That's never going to happen, Brielle. You should know that by now. There's not a chance on God's green earth I'm going over the edge.
I am. I'm going
Carolina,
over
do you
for
want
the
to go over the
second
edge?
time.
Carolina, do you
Brielle's
wanna go
going
the
over
edge?
for like the 4th time.
I know. Carolina, are you going to go over the edge?
No.
Oh, come on, Carolina. It's fun. Believe it or
I
not.
have
it
I have
really is fun.
children.
She just had a
So
baby.
do
She
I.
just had.
She
actually
will
just had
have
a
8
baby.
grandchildren.
She just had a baby. So yeah,
I just had a baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now
But no,
one question, if for schools like Newark, which are pretty far from Chester, it would just be virtual, right?
Well, no, we can travel this piece, Gene, right to the schools themselves. And so that the piece at that point would be kind of structured so that it was kind of like be able to be played in one of those gymnasiums or the cafetoriums or however you want to call them, so that it's got that flexibility. That's one of the things that, even to Mark's point earlier, that it can either be made available on film, it can be a live performance within a theater with the full lights and all the ambiance you want, or it can be done in a cafetorium and with a sound system. And while we wouldn't have the capability of the lights, we'd still be able to tell the story with the puppets, and nothing would really detract from that.
Steve, when do
so
you
it's
expect
wonderful.
Steve, when you? I'm
That's
sorry, I
you're so
apologize.
flexible.
Yes.
Steve, when
It's
do you
one of
expect
the
this show to
reasons
be
that
able to?
it will be evergreen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
Steve,
David.
when would you expect the show to actually have its first show?
In that premiere in November.
Oh, November. Okay, so that'll be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because it's going to take us from now to probably June, July area to have the puppets constructed.
Okay.
Then work with the actors because Rob Cutler is going to be part of the deal is we have with him is he's going to be coming and working and teaching puppetry skills with our performers. So that's going to take a whole process, and then we'll be ready to go.
Thank you.
Going to have to come up with all the individual character business for each of those puppets. You don't even know how they operate yet. That's
That's it.
pretty skillful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's going to be, I'm actually looking forward to it. It's exciting.
So Mark, Jean, George, Mr. Catter, you're being very quiet there. I think this is such a fun thing and a different thing for the coalition to have an opportunity to do. And we really thank Steve and Lauren for helping to pull this together and make this happen.
Absolutely. Big thumbs up from me.
Thank you.
Well, I really think the fact that we're going into the elementary schools is where we should be. I'm very pleased about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you all very much for your time. Lauren, did you have any other thing that you wanted us to be able to cover?
I appreciate
You're the ringleader.
everybody joining. If there are any additional questions, please feel free to reach out. Steve's available, Julia's available, everybody here's pretty much available. And we thank you for the time you took to both organize all of this as well as come today.
Thank you.
Mr. Frederick, a nice show, of course, again, as usual. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you so
Glad to
much.
see it.
pleasure.
Thank you very
Forward.
much, Steve. Thank you, everyone.
My pleasure.
You have
Nice
a
to
great
meet you
day.
all.
Nice to
Take
meet
care.
you as well.
Bye-bye.
Stay well, David.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you too. Bye-bye.